I think the police department are entirely too lenient with these vicious exhibitions of sex.
You're entirely right, Henry. I don't see what's happening to our youngsters today.
I see that philanthropist, Paul Lorenz, and his committee are doing a wonderful work. He'll soon clean up this filth and educate the youngsters towards a better life.
The joy out of life. Why don't they reform themselves and give us a chance to get a little innocent fun once in a while? I'm going over to Jane's house. They'll probably try to stop me from doing that pretty soon.
It can't be that James is interested in this sort of entertainment.
Oh, impetuous youth, Mother. He's like all the rest. Now, don't worry about him. He'll be all right.
I hope so. Then after this, Betty. The principal objection made by the commissioner was when Sheila Wayne removed her last bit of clothing and walked off smiling to the audience. You must have plenty of it. I wish I could do that instead of slaving in this office. I'll bet you could. You do have plenty of it.
Think so? Say, I wonder if I couldn't be a striptease queen. What's she got that I haven't got? How do they do it? Zip. Off. Zip.
See, what do you say we go and see her tonight? It'll be great fun.
All right, let's plan it tonight.
Oh, great.
You can phone home and say you're staying with friends.
It's my place tonight, won't you?
Man, oh man, has she got it? Boy, oh boy, look at that baby. Isn't she something?
Oh, don't worry, Mother. He's just out having a little innocent fun. Oh, let's go to bed.
All right.
too. Another grand performance under the belt. And do I need relaxation?
Oh, I'm tired. Me for bed.
Bed? Did you say bed? That's not to relax him, that's for action. Gosh, it was taking my clothes off when I come into the theater, putting them on again, taking them off for the customers, putting them on again, taking them off again when I'm ready to go home. I think it's time I gave the old mouth a chance and had a drink.
Well, now that you're all through for tonight, I guess you can enjoy yourself.
Hey, you said it. You know what? That's exactly what you're going to do. We've got a date with Tom Lorenz.
Oh, not me, thanks. I've got some letters to write.
Don't you know who he is? His father's the biggest reformer in town. Is that funny or is that funny?
Oh, well, then now you go right ahead. After all, you know, two is company.
But he's got friends with him. Big time, sister, we're going to step out.
Oh, not me, Sheila. I'm going home. You know what I have to do.
Yeah, I know. You've got to see that doctor in the morning and you want to look well.
Oh, I suppose you'd put it that way.
Listen, Millicent, you're only wasting your time. I went to a quack for a long time, and what did he ever do for me?
Oh, but I tell you, I've got to get well.
You've got your old age to settle down and get well in. These boys will show us a swell time, and they want to meet you.
Well, some other time, please, Sheila. Besides, I'm very tired tonight.
Well, sure. I'm tired every night until I get out, and then I want to go to town.
Oh, well, and now listen. You go ahead and enjoy yourself. I tell you what to do. You take Alice Carter with you. You know, she's lots of fun. So I don't spoil your party.
Well, I guess that's that.
Behold, Alice Carter in person. Did someone mention my name?
Well, yes, dearie, but...
Okey doke, let's go. I'm in on that date.
Sure, sometime when I got a grudge against myself, I'll take you along.
Is that so?
Take it easy now, boys. The best part of the evening is about to begin.
Look at this.
Tom Lorenz, you sure can pick 'em.
No matter how much Tom's father reforms them, he always finds some new ones. You sure can pick 'em, Tom.
Easy on that reform stuff now, boys. Here comes Sheila.
Hello, Tom. Waiting long?
No, where's Sheila?
She ran home to put on her evening gown.
So what?
She says for you to meet her outside of Mrs. Fay's house tonight. There's a big party on tonight.
Swell, will there be plenty of girls there?
Oh, there'll be lots of girls.
Okay, baby. Would you like to come along?
Yes, why don't you come along?
Oh, come on along.
Oh, I'm
Please.
sorry, boys, but I have a previous appointment.
Oh, please,
Oh,
God.
no. Good night. Have a good time.
Okay, sis, and thanks for the message, honey.
So late.
Well, I knew you would be tired. That's why I came up to have a little coffee for you after the show.
Oh, yes, I am. Very tired. Oh, I don't know what I'd do without you, Mrs. Jonas.
That's all
You're
right.
so kind.
That's all right. I used to be in show business once upon a time, and I know that with a little kindness, you can accomplish a great deal.
Oh. You know, Mrs. Jonas, we girls are certainly lucky having a landlady like you around here.
Oh, dear. I'm happy. When you girls try, I do all in my power to help you. But how are you feeling tonight, honey?
Oh, not so well.
Oh, my dear. Here I'm gossiping and I forgot all about a special delivery letter that came for you this evening.
Oh,
that's the second one today. That boyfriend of yours must be very lonesome for you.
oh, thank you, Mrs. Jonas.
Oh, I must go to see Elizabeth. Good night. Happy dreams.
Good night, Mrs. Jonas. Why did I ever leave you?
Well, Sheila, I'm awfully glad you came. I see you brought your boyfriends with you.
Well, it's a house party, isn't it? Besides, I wanted you to have enough boys to go around.
Boy, this place looks cozy. I'm sure glad I came.
Well, we're glad, too. Now the feeling's mutual. Say, girls, take their hats and coats.
Why, of course. Hello, how are you?
Go right ahead, boys. I want to talk to Sheila alone. Well, Sheila.
Which one of the boys is your new boyfriend? Don't you know who that fellow is? He's Tom Lorenz, you know. Son of a pop performer.
Oh, yeah? I suppose you brought him here to perform it.
No, it's on the level. I mean it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you didn't bring his father, too.
Oh, forget it, darling. You know I can handle things.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, hello, Sheila. One drink. Well, say, you don't think she minds our being here?
Of course not, darling. We were just talking about clothes. You know how we girls are.
Oh, my.
Are you having a good time?
I hope so.
Think the boys are having a good time?
I'm pretty sure of that.
And that's how she met the traveling salesman. Come on, honey, let's go have another drink.
He's having a good time anyway. All right.
You know, there's one thing about these house parties. Makes everyone feel so informal.
Sure. We all feel like we know each other all the time.
Long enough to fall in love with you at first sight.
Hard enough, folks. We're going out for a drink. Right.
You go right ahead. We won't miss it.
Well, folks, are you having a good time?
I wouldn't have missed this for anything.
Good.
Have a drink?
No, thanks. Not just now.
Tom, Mrs. Spray has the cutest little Pomeranian upstairs. Would you like to see it?
I'm looking at Pomeranian.
Well, Bessie, why don't you take your boyfriend and show him the house?
How about it, Jerry?
Well, it's okay with me.
We'll find some cozy little corners.
Oh.
We hope is right. That's a great idea. Come on, George. I'll show you the guest room.
Boy, I'm glad they left. Not say hello.
I hope they stay a while.
Syphilis is a relentless enemy, and only constant and courageous fighting will conquer. Now, this boy at home, do you love him?
Oh, yes.
Then you must be fair to him.
Oh, there isn't anything I wouldn't do to prove myself to. We grew up together. It was all so beautiful until this dreadful thing happened.
Miss Hamilton, your character doesn't indicate why you should be in this mess. What happened? Tell me everything.
Well, I won a beauty contest at home, and I came to New York.
I know you'll think me a little selfish, but I can't help feeling a little sorry that you won this contest.
Oh, but darling, you know how I feel about it. Why, oh, I'm so happy. I'm so excited. Why, just think, going to New York.
Oh, I'm pleased that you're happy. But, well, I'm afraid that if you go, it'll upset our plans. Oh, but darling, you wouldn't let that happen, would you?
Oh, nothing could stop me from marrying you. You see, I love you. And besides, I may come famous, and well, then you could come on and we could get married and just live happily ever after.
Oh, sweetheart.
Oh, it's just the usual sort of a story, I suppose. After the contest was over, I thought of all the wonderful things a girl ever dreams about. Fame and fortune and luxury. Oh, but I found myself walking from office to office. I was broke. My pride would not let me return home. You see, I'd written that I was successful. I could find parties, but no physicians. And then one day I met a theatrical manager.
You know, a girl like you has to unbend a little. After all, you haven't had much experience.
Oh, but I'm willing to do anything. Well, I'm ambitious. Oh, why don't you give me a chance?
I'm offering you a chance right now. Here we're arranging a lovely weekend out at Long Island. You'll have a swell time and make some good connections.
Well, must there always be a social side to this business?
Well, there must be if you expect to get anywhere. Oh, you won't have to do anything wrong. Just be nice and entertaining. Stand up a moment, will you, please? I want to see how you shape up. That's right. Now, walk a little towards the door, will you? Yeah, that's right. Now come back this way. That's right. Now, raise them up a little. Oh, don't mind me. I just want to see if you're the right type. Come on. Oh, come on, bring him up. Bring him up a little higher. Up. That's it. Say, you're going to be okay, honey. You know, I kind of like you myself. All right. Have it your own way. Only cut out the risky stuff, see? Now, here's the address that you go to.
Oh, thank you so much. There was nothing else to do. I just had to have a job. Oh, there were lots of people there, and everything seemed very proper until...
She dances divinely, doesn't she, Senorita?
Oh, lovely, senor. Oh, and how do you like my sonnet?
Well, it's much better than mine. See, I know such few words.
Oh, but we must keep in the atmosphere. After all, this is a costume party, you know. Oh, it's so beautiful. The night. The music.
And you to make the night divine.
Oh, how I long for all this. A career. To realize it. Luxury. Oh, how I've dreamed of it. Success. To have all this.
Oh, you could have all of this and more if only you would make up your mind to...
Oh, but I want to make a name myself. Oh, I don't care how hard I'd have to work. It would be worth it.
Work was never meant for such beautiful little hands as yours. Oh, Senorita,
You could have all of this and more. You could have wealth, luxury, beautiful clothes, servants.
Oh, but I couldn't. You don't mean...
Why don't you let me put your name at the top of the show world? You could have all of this if only you'd let me.
Oh, I'd be so grateful. Oh, it's nice to have someone interested in you. Oh, but you will help me.
My power to help you at all times, to help you in your ambitions, to get this and more. Let us seal our friendship with wine, sparkling, bright, gorgeous champagne. It rids the mind of worry, fills the soul with hope.
I suppose you're right. I never tried it. Oh, this is...
To us.
It fascinated me, and partly because I was so terribly desperate. That night there was a wild party. I drank some champagne and it went to my head. And then it happened. I gave myself to him.
And how long did you stay with this man?
Several days, I'm not sure. Oh, it all seemed sort of a terrible dream. And then he left me. I was all alone. Finally, the horrible truth dawned upon me. I was a thing unclean. I needed money for medical attention. I even planned suicide, but because I knew my plight would be known at home, I determined to go on.
And you got the job?
In the burlesque show. It was the only job offered. That's my whole story, Doctor. I've omitted nothing.
And was this your only mistake?
Oh, yes. Would to God that I hadn't.
There, my child. I'll do all I can. Your case, if arrested at once, can be cured. But you must do your part. Now, about this boy. Of course, it's impossible for you to marry him at present. To the hospital with me, and I'll show you why. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, but regulations require hospital clothes. Come with me. Now, this case is a young woman who neglected to take proper care of her affliction. Statistics prove that less than 1/2 of syphilis cases seek treatment or are recognized within the first year of the disease. Here we see the insidious effect of syphilis upon once dainty fingers, hands that rock the cradle, now pleading for humanity's help. For a plague it is that attacks every nerve center, every organ, and every muscle of the human body. Those in the autumn of their lives left to brood over the folly of ignorance and neglect. Pathetic illustration, remindful of a terrible storm leaving wreckage in its wake. And now wait in the corridor, Millicent, until I change my clothes. Now, I've shown you the worst side, Miss Hamilton, but there's also a hope. I want you to let me treat you daily for a short time, say 1 month, here in the hospital. And then when I'm convinced you're progressing, you may leave and go home.
You mean I'll be free to
marry? Not yet. But if you continue to take the treatment faithfully from a competent physician at home, in time you'll be cured.
Oh, but Doctor, then everyone would know.
Then go to a nearby city. There are very many fine doctors, and you could visit him at least once a week. But I must advise you against quacks, unscrupulous doctors who promise you complete health and only prolong your case. They exact heavy fees, and all your good work thus far will be lost. In any event, you are not to marry until you're definitely cured. I know it sounds harsh, but we're dealing with a ruthless foe.
I understand, Doctor. And I'll do everything you say.
That's fine. Now write home that you'll be detained just a little longer. Keep your courage and it'll turn out well.
Dr. Hampton, I don't believe people should be ignorant of sex. On the contrary, I believe that the horrible facts concerning the ravages of social diseases will frighten rather than encourage promiscuous relations. Then, on the other hand, if we teach them the beauty of a healthful, normal marriage, the spiritual satisfaction of rearing children, we shall have accomplished our aim. And our younger men and women will soon find themselves fit for the glorious state of God-given matrimony.
I believe you are right, Mr. Lorenz. The prudish eluding of the facts of life are fast undermining our national health. The latest official statistics prove that 1 out of every 10 are afflicted with a social disease. Unless this is checked through education and drastic treatment, humanity is bound to return to the dark ages of despair.
Do you feel equal to the trip?
Oh, Doctor, I'm so grateful and so happy.
There now. Remember, you're not out of it all yet. Now, Millicent, you're leaving for a new life, new thoughts, new ideals. Fight hard. Follow my instructions, and let me hear from you if you need help. I think you'd better hurry. You don't want to miss your train, do you?
Well, goodbye, Doctor. And thank you for everything you've done.
Goodbye, Millicent.
There she is, Pa. There's our Blanche. Oh, I'm so glad she's going to be home with us again.
Gosh, doesn't she look pretty, Ma?
Oh,
Bet she's glad to be home.
Darling, oh, my face. Oh, my face. Oh, Mother, be careful. I have a bad cold. Oh, bother the cold. Why, don't you remember how Daddy always had the cold? I fixed him up. Why, we'll set you around in no time. Oh,
Well, Millie, haven't you got a hug for your daddy?
And there's someone waiting for you. At home. Oh, Wendell. Come on, let's hurry now. And I want to see, I've got the room all fixed up for you. And think what I've got. Look here. A chocolate cake, one the kind that you just love. Now, Daddy, get this one on things, will you, dear? And hurry up, Daddy. We want to get started. Come on, darling. Let's go home. Just look, Pa. Our Millicent's so happy.
Yep. She's grown up on us, Ma.
I guess we'll get soon to Wendell.
Oh, gosh, Ma. I was just thinking. She doesn't seem to be in any hurry to marry him.
Well, you know how it is. She's our little girl, and she'll decide what's right when her heart tells her. Besides, we're so glad to be back to us after her long visit to New York.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Mother. They usually are. Yeah.
Both love each other. And I'm dreaming of the future. I'm going to the post office, Mother. I'll be right back.
All right, darling.
Where do you get them, G, Mother?
She never forgets her New York friends, does she?
No.
They must be people.
I'd like to meet some of them nice people.
Well, so would I.
It's not that I'm trying to be a bit sensible. Oh, we have such a long time before us.
But wait. Oh, darling, if you knew just how I longed for you each day. It seemed ages. Oh, I never thought I'd be able to bear it with you away from me. Now that you're here and... Oh, you make me so happy.
I do have waited for you, where I should have stayed here with you.
But you're here now. With me. And with those who love you. Never, will never desert you, no matter what happens.
No matter what happens.
And no matter what happens. See all that God gave me to enjoy.
Oh, I see it all, dear. God did give it to us to enjoy. Help.
I guess if we're in love, see everything beautiful. Maybe it was intended that way.
Oh, but was it intended everyone to be happy? No matter what the...
Come now, bother the past. All it did was keep us apart. Now together, and all we have is the future to count on.
Oh, dearie. I want to be so happy with you. I want to share all your troubles and all your joys. I want every coffee to clear the patient. Please. And I'm holding him off almost by force to delay the wedding.
Well, I see no reason for the delay, if you follow my advice.
Oh, yes, Doctor.
I've been treating you for 7 months, haven't I? And your chart here indicates steady improvement.
It cost me a lot, Doctor, but I'm so grateful for what you're doing.
Oh, but the best doesn't come cheaply. And that leads up to what I have in mind.
Yes,
A multiple serum treatment. Absolutely new in medical science. Expensive, but the advantages are great. In short, this treatment will make it possible for you to marry within 30 days.
Oh, Doctor, you mean I'll be entirely...
Cured, yes. Not an aspect of the disease will be left. You'll even be fit for me.
Oh, now, Doctor, you quite sure that within 30 days I'll be able to marry?
The day of days you've been waiting for. Marriage, children. And the cost is $100. And it's worth 10 times that.
Now pronounce you man and wife.
getting after those quacks. No, I can't seem to read that small print.
Ah, you ought to feel great being a father.
Yeah, I ought to, Buck, but I don't. I've been feeling all in lately.
Staying up all night with the baby. That's what does that.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Stevie, something must be wrong. His lips are so blue. Oh, little Steve, you better crawl off the bed. I don't think anything serious, but you better look at him.
Hey, Buck. Hey, will you read this thing for me? I can't see those numbers.
Sure, Webb. She reads 253,000.
Thanks.
All right. What's the matter, Wendell? Don't you feel good?
I feel rotten, Mr. Schwartz. And now, something must be wrong with my eyes. I can't see.
Well, that's nothing. Up the heat. That's nothing. You see, the weather is hot, but my business ain't so hot. That's all right. You can take off. Take off for the day, and you'll be all right. That's all right. Go home. Goodbye.
Well, gee, thanks, Mr. Schwartz. And I'll be in just that much earlier on Monday.
That's all right. Take a good rest. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, Dr. Baird there, please. Oh, doctor, will you please come right over? Something's happened to baby. Oh, thank you, doctor.
Hello? Oh, hello, Mrs. Hope.
Is Wendell there, please?
Wendell? No, he's gone. He left a little while ago. Said he was going straight home. Wasn't feeling so well again, you know, his eyes.
Oh, thank you, Buck.
You're welcome. Bye.
Folks, you have a very sick child. My advice is to get a specialist.
Oh, my baby. What is it, Dr. Baird? Tell me.
He has a toxic condition. His pulse is high and he's feverish. Frankly, Mrs. Hamilton, he's desperately ill.
Oh, doctor, this can't mean...
My advice is a pediatrician. This baby needs one. And I want both of you to come to my office at 2 this afternoon.
Oh, there you are. There, that's fine.
You're the third doctor I've been to already. I'm getting pretty discouraged.
Well, it takes time, my boy. Besides, you haven't been to the right one. Now, your case is my specialty.
Yes, that's what the last doctor told me. It's cost me an awful lot already.
Well, you're just paying the price of your folly, my boy. Now, this little treatment I'm suggesting will be expensive, but you'll be cured.
Well, I'll manage it somehow. Here's $75 on account. I'll pay you the rest in a few days.
Why, that's fine. Now, tomorrow morning...
Dr. Hampton, there is no doubt but what your work in helping this campaign for education will in time, bring these intolerable, horrible ravages of social diseases such as syphilis and gonorrhea absolutely under control.
Mr. Lorenz,
Your generous donation is the only thing that makes it possible to carry on our scientific research. There still remains a mountain of work for you and your co-workers to help us carry on. Well, good night.
Good night, Doctor. It's been good to see you.
Yes.
We meet again
At the conference tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Good night, sir.
Good night, Doctor. Oh, son, you just missed Dr. Hampton.
Yes, but I didn't miss the conversation. The door was slightly ajar, and, well, I couldn't help it over here.
Good. Then you know the important work we're doing.
Well, I know I've made a mess out of my life.
Why, what do you mean?
I mean that if I'd only been taught the awful truth about social disease years ago, well, I wouldn't be talking to you now.
I don't understand.
Father, I hate to tell you this, but I've become a victim. I've contracted syphilis.
You have what?
Yes, it's the truth, Father. And I'm pretty ashamed of it. But I don't know. I had to see you, to talk to you. I've got to get some advice about this.
How did this happen?
Well, we were on a party.
Why didn't you come to me sooner?
Well, I didn't want you to know about it. I don't know. I went to quacks and clinics and tried to take care of myself, and all they did was take my money, and they did nothing.
My boy, we've got a fight ahead of us. But I'm happy that you had the courage to come to me.
And I must ask you, Wendell, are you entirely well? Well, as a matter of fact, Doctor, my eyes have been bothering me lately, but I'm all right. You don't mean that... For God's sake, you don't mean that I'm responsible for my baby, that... Well, children, your youngster has all the earmarks of the cases recorded in this medical book. And while I hate to tell you, you must know the truth. The truth, Doctor? The truth. Your baby is syphilitic, and one or both of you are the cause. What in God's name are you talking about?
But he said I was cured.
Not an aspect of the disease will be left.
I'm the one who did this. Me. Only me. I had the disease. Oh, but the doctor said that I was cured. And I believed him. I believed him. I'm a murderer. That's what I am. I've murdered my baby. And now I'm murdering my husband. Oh, please, get him Dr. Harris from New York Neurological Hospital. Oh, please. Oh, he told me. He warned me. Oh, I should have stayed with him.
Who knows where death may be striking at this very moment from this dreaded disease? Only the light of truth teaches the dangers of syphilis. And with scientific treatment, these horrors can be brought under control and countless innocent victims saved. We must continue this important work of education and forget our prudish attitude toward sex. Enlighten your children. Teach them the facts of life. And trust them to avoid the dangerous pitfalls of these ravaging social diseases. I want to give you a concrete example of what I mean. Tom Lorenz, the son of our crusader, in our great work.
Ladies and gentlemen, first, I want to thank my father that his fight against the follies of youth have saved me from a life of misery. And tonight, I want to relate to you my own experiences with this blight upon mankind. Our crowd of boys were out for a good time, and we went to a burlesque show. Oh, we thought we were regular cut-ups, all right. From the show, we went to a house party with drinks and girls and, well, all that goes with it. That was the start of months of misery, with patent medicines, quack doctors, and sleepless nights. Until finally, I came to my father for help. He had a competent physician treat me, and soon my health and spirits returned. And that's why I'm here tonight. Unashamed to spread the gospel for the benefit of the countless boys and girls who, like myself, indulged in supposedly innocent fun.
What's the matter, dearie? Can't you rest?
I'm worried about you. I hear you walking up and down. Oh, come to me, darling.
Oh, we both need sleep. I'll prepare something for us.
Is that you, dear?
Yes, darling. Oh, it's been too much for us. What must you think of me?
Your happiness is all that counts, darling.
But all the pain, all the tragedy I've caused you. What must you think of me?
More than ever, I think of you as my wife. My darling, I need you so now.
And I, too, need you, dearest.
And we'll always be together.
Always together. Always.
Just a moment, please. New York calling. Here's your party.
Hello?
Lily, I couldn't keep the news to myself any longer. Guess what? I met him, I love him tonight, he proposed.
Oh, but you...
Yes, I know, but I'm going to be all right. I've been to a real doctor. You had the right idea about those treatments. I laughed at you then, but I know better now.
You mean you are? Oh, that's fine.
The doctor has been treating me for over a year now. Now only a year longer. But it's worth waiting for. And Millie, I can have a baby.
Oh, I know you'll be very happy.
Gee, I've got everything in the world to live for now. And just think, Millie, at one time I thought of committing suicide.
Oh.
What is it, dear?
Oh, it's Jill, and she's going to be married. Oh, darling, if she can be happy, we can too.
From the day you are born, you begin to grow and mature. Sometimes, it's not easy on the folks around you.
Make sure you get on the right bus coming home.
Bye.
Bye. Let's take it.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, you're all right.
What happened?
Oh, he had his mouth.
You're okay. Go on. A high point of growing up occurs when the juices start running, and you begin to move physically from boyhood to manhood. But this, too, is sometimes not easy on the folks around you.
George, I think it's about time you and I had ourselves a little talk. You know, about the birds and bees, the facts of life.
So, maybe as a young teenager, you thought you knew all about the facts of life. But chances are, there were a few important things you didn't know. Even though you may have gotten a pretty good rundown at the time, there still may be things you're not sure of. So, here's your chance to learn about what has been happening to you as a male at a very important time of your life. It's a fact of life that from the moment of birth, your body begins maturing. Not long ago, it got to the point where it became sexually mature and able to reproduce itself. This means you've taken a giant step toward manhood and a place in adult society. As you know, the bodies of men and women are physically designed to mate, to reproduce, to have babies. This mating is called sexual intercourse. Your ability to reproduce began somewhere between the ages of 13 to 16. We call this point puberty, the time when your body begins to mature sexually. In girls, it usually happens a few years earlier. You know when your body starts maturing sexually because important changes take place. Your physical appearance begins to change. Your emotions are affected, and your social life takes a new direction. During this changeover period, your muscles and bones grow thicker and stronger. Hair appears on your body and on your face. Your reproductive organs grow larger, and your voice grows deeper. Changes also take place in the female during the maturing process, as she becomes capable of giving birth to a child. At this time, both male and female develop what is called the sex drive, a normal emotional process that makes each increasingly interested in the opposite sex. All these changes are nature's way of preparing you for adulthood, when you are expected to be on your own, to seek a mate, and begin a family. The period between sexual maturity and marriage is difficult and confusing for young people in our complex society. On one hand, you have become physically ready to have children. On the other hand, you're not yet ready to make your way on your own as a family man in the adult world. Good physical and emotional health in this transition period requires you to understand the changes that have taken place in your body and to recognize that self-control is desirable in relationships with the opposite sex. As a male, the focal point of sexual maturity is found in your reproductive organs. Located outside your body, they include the penis and the testicles. Soon after birth, the testicles drop into a two-chambered pouch called the scrotum. For centuries, they have been the symbol of masculinity, and rightly so. For at puberty, they start producing the male sex hormones, chemicals called androgens, of which testosterone is the principal one. These hormones are carried to all parts of your body by the blood and cause physical and emotional changes in your body, including your sex drive. Testosterone also stimulates the development of sperm cells that grow inside a cluster of fine, tightly coiled tubes contained in each testicle. Billions of these tiny sperm cells are produced in the testicles every month. Any one of them can fertilize an egg in the female body to begin the life cycle of a baby. As they continue to be produced, they overflow from the testicles into two larger coiled tubes called vas deferens, connected to the testicles inside the scrotum. In the early stages of their development, these cells are highly sensitive to heat. They are able to develop properly because they're kept at just the right temperature in the scrotum outside the body. The sperm cells continue their movement up each of the vas deferens tubes to storage sacs within the body called seminal vesicles. Close by is the prostate gland, where a whitish fluid is manufactured to carry, nourish, and protect the sperm cells. The mixture of this fluid with the sperm cells is called semen. When the semen leaves the body, it moves down a tube called the urethra that runs the length of the penis. The penis is the means of delivering semen to the female. At birth, the head of the penis is covered by a thin layer of skin called the foreskin. Frequently, this skin is removed in a minor operation called circumcision. When the foreskin is not removed, a cheesy material called smegma collects underneath, causing an offensive odor and sometimes infection. Uncircumcised males can prevent this by making sure the area under the foreskin is kept clean. Of course, a major function of the penis is serving as the body's outlet for urine. Urine is stored in the bladder and leaves the body through the urethra. The connection from the bladder to the urethra closes when semen is discharged. A discharge of semen is almost always preceded by an erection. This occurs when certain types of stimulation, mental or physical, cause outlets for blood in the penis to be closed off. Since the incoming blood has no return path, it is dammed up, causing the penis to swell. It becomes firm and hard and erect, ready for intercourse. A muscular action of the erect penis causes the discharge of the semen. This is called ejaculation. Some men cannot have an erection, and therefore may not be able to have intercourse or to ejaculate. They're said to be impotent. This can occur for emotional reasons, and in such cases is often temporary. On the other hand, other men are perfectly capable of erection, intercourse, and ejaculation, but their testicles do not produce enough active sperm cells. They are said to be sterile. The difference in their sperm is quite noticeable through the microscope. These are active sperm cells in normal semen. Note how they resemble tadpoles, each with a head and a long active tail. This is how the cells look in the semen of a man who is sterile. The cells are fewer in number and less active, and they may be deformed. Neither impotency nor sterility has any bearing on how manly you look or act. Manliness results from the male hormone testosterone and is not related in any way to the production of sperm cells or the inability to ejaculate. Remember, in a normal male, the testicles are constantly manufacturing male hormones and distributing them through the body. At the same time, they're also manufacturing and storing sperm cells. This brings up an important point. It just stands to reason that if you manufacture and store something long enough, you're going to have an overflow problem. To take care of this, nature gives you a safety valve. Once in a while, the stored semen lets go. You have what we call a nocturnal emission, a wet dream. In some men, emissions may even occur during the daytime. Wet dreams may be a little messy, but they're perfectly normal. They don't mean you're oversexed. They cause no harm or fatigue or emotional upset. They have nothing to do with disease. In fact, they're a sign of good health. And let me say once more, losing semen in wet dreams or other ways does not cause a loss of your masculinity. The hormones that give you your masculine traits are not released in the semen. Now, let's move to the reproductive organs of the female. In many ways, they are similar to the male's, except most of the female organs are located inside the body, of course. The external parts of the female organs are collectively called the vulva. The vulva includes the lips or labia that protect the opening of the inner organs, the clitoris, a tiny sensitive organ that resembles a miniature male penis, and just inside, the hymen, a membrane that tends to narrow the opening. The hymen may be rigid, quite pliable, or may appear not to exist at all. Its presence or absence is no proof that a girl has experienced sexual intercourse. Behind the hymen is the vagina, the canal that leads to the organs of reproduction. It holds the penis during intercourse. The vagina leads to the uterus, or womb, a hollow, elastic organ that protects and nourishes a developing child before birth. The other reproductive organs include the ovaries, two small but important glands that resemble the male testicles and contain the woman's lifetime supply of tiny egg cells, usually about 10,000. The fallopian tubes carry the egg cells from the ovaries to the uterus. When a girl reaches 12 to 15 years of age, her ovaries begin to manufacture female hormones called estrogens. These hormones are distributed by the blood to all parts of the body and cause the physical and emotional changes in a female, just as the male hormones produced by a man's testicles cause his masculine characteristics. The hormones also cause the immature eggs in the ovaries to begin to develop. About once a month, an egg from one ovary matures and is discharged. It moves into the fallopian tube toward the uterus. This is called ovulation. During this time, the uterus undergoes a change. Its lining thickens with new blood vessels and tissues that will become the nesting place for the egg to grow, should it become fertilized by union with a sperm cell. The egg usually takes about 4 days to make the journey. This is the girl's monthly fertile period, the time when she can become pregnant if she has intercourse. If the egg is not fertilized, the thickened lining of the uterus has nothing to nourish. It breaks apart, comes loose from the wall of the uterus, mixes with small amounts of blood and tissue fluids, and flows into the vagina and out of the body. This is what is known as menstruation. It usually lasts about 5 days and is what a girl refers to as her period. The time from the start of one period to the next is called the menstrual cycle. In most girls, the menstrual cycle repeats on a regular basis about every 28 days. Many other girls have regular cycles of different duration. Some girls may have cycles at irregular intervals. In many cases, this occurs only occasionally when the girl is ill or under emotional stress. Now let's see what happens when the female has intercourse during her fertile period. The mature egg has begun its 4-day journey down the fallopian tube. The penis ejaculates semen into the vagina. Millions of tiny sperm cells begin to move up into the uterus and fallopian tubes. These cells are propelled forward by their long active tails. As many as 500 million may be in a single ejaculation. When a single sperm cell penetrates the egg, fertilization takes place. This is the start of another human being. The fertilized egg starts to grow immediately as it continues on to the uterus, and there it plants itself in the rich lining. The female is pregnant. The menstrual cycle stops and no other eggs will develop in the ovaries until after the baby is born, about 9 months later. Of course, there are methods and devices used to prevent the sperm cell from fertilizing the female egg, but none are completely foolproof. For this reason, you would be wise to consider sexual intercourse in its natural role, the way to have a baby. The reproductive organs play an important part in the lives of all young men and women. They help make you the kind of person you are. They will enable you to have a family. They should be protected from injury or disease. This takes extra care for you as a male because your organs are outside your body. Damaging injuries can be avoided by wearing a protective supporter and the proper uniform when engaged in sports activities. Certain diseases are a special problem too. Mumps contracted as an adult can result in sterility. So it is important to see the doctor whenever the glands below your ear become painful and enlarged. Obviously, this is especially important if you have been exposed to mumps. But there is much more to the union of a male and female. Nothing in life is more rewarding to a man than the love, understanding, and mutual response that comes from a rich and meaningful relationship with a woman. In our society, this occurs in marriage. It is what most young men set as one of the major goals of their lives.
A thing worth having is worth protecting on all sides, outside and inside. One of the most prized possessions you can have is complete good health, that wonderful sense of well-being. It affects every part of you and every aspect of your life. To maintain well-being requires your continual care and protection. That means control. Control of your emotions. Control of your physical appetites. And control of your sense of what's right and what's wrong. All these controls are especially important to young people in their expanding personal and social activities, particularly those involving drinking and sex. These can be exciting and at the same time bewildering. Like a car rolling down a steep hill, alcohol and emotions build their own momentum. If you lose control, you can end up in difficulty or with damage. Your control, your care and protection of your well-being is up to you. Perhaps you don't like the taste of liquor or have strong feelings against it. Then by all means, don't drink. You will never be one of those who have problems with alcohol. On the other hand, there are many people who drink in moderation with no problems, social, moral, or medical. They have learned to enjoy liquor without letting it upset the functioning of their body and mind. The effect of alcohol tends to be misleading. It's not a stimulant, quite the opposite. In a moderate amount, alcohol is like a sedative, a tranquilizer. It relaxes you, makes you more congenial. This helps make a gathering cheerful and friendly. And this is where the momentum becomes dangerous. One relaxing drink calls for another, until that moderate amount becomes too much. Now the effect is like anesthesia, like ether. She feels no pain until the next day. Headache, stomachache, just sick all over. She has abused her system, and she's paying for it. On the job, there's no fun, and very little is accomplished. It's no place for a hangover. Too much, too often, can lead to this. Because individuals vary in the size of their bodies and bloodstreams, what is a moderate amount of alcohol for one person may be too much for another. You can avoid a high percent of alcohol in your blood by choosing a diluted drink, such as beer or a highball, instead of a cocktail. By drinking slowly and by eating while you drink. Food slows the rate at which alcohol enters the bloodstream. So to keep in control of your actions and emotions, know the strength of what you're drinking. Limit how much you drink according to your capacity. Take your time. Drink slowly. And eat while you drink. If you drink, protect your health and well-being. Be moderate. Drinking is an acquired habit. You're not born with a taste or desire for alcohol. Sexual desires are another thing. Basically, everyone has a desire for sexual expression and satisfaction. It's a part of being human. It's natural and normal. We might understand it by comparing it with our desire for food. By our nature, we need food to live. So nature has made eating enjoyable. And we look forward to the taste of certain foods. A pizza, a milkshake, coffee. We enjoy their taste. And they keep us alive. Sex urges and pleasures are part of nature's plan to keep the world populated. So we have natural sexual desires. And while enjoying the pleasures nature has attached to sexual activity, we keep the human race alive. One of the signs of growing up is interest in the opposite sex. A feeling of affection toward one special person. This feeling becomes so important that young people frequently imagine it or supply it from a substitute. To show affection is natural, healthy, and desirable. When affection is returned, it may lead to romance. Romance to real love. And love in turn to marriage. That's when the sex urges achieve their ultimate and finest expression, in the close love relationship of marriage. This is the desirable pattern. But frequently, the road from affection to marriage is not so straight and so smooth. If emotions get out of control, it's easy for the anxious and the inexperienced to take a wrong turn. Control here means a good set of brakes and enough backup power to get back on the right road. Without those brakes, without control of our sex urges, where can this road take you? how can you wind up? Yes, pregnancy. That's one possibility. Illegitimate pregnancy. Intercourse is called the Marriage Act. It should properly be reserved for expressing love in your marriage and for creating children. Pregnancy should be a cause for joy because a woman instinctively loves and cares for a child, especially her own. But the child is not hers alone. The father is meant to share the joy and responsibility. Marriage ensures this sharing to the benefit of the child, the parents, and society. Pregnancy without marriage can have a different effect. Because it is socially and morally not accepted, it can cause sorrow and heartache to the unwed mother. To raise and support the child, she's without the help of a husband. There is only one sure way to avoid undesired pregnancy. Avoid sexual intercourse. Another problem of uncontrolled sexual relations is venereal disease, or VD. The name venereal comes from Venus, the goddess of love. Because the diseases thrive in the warmth and moisture of the sex organs and are generally spread by contact with these infected parts, usually in sexual intercourse. There are two major venereal diseases, syphilis and gonorrhea. They are different diseases caused by entirely different germs. Syphilis germs are found in the sores of infected parts of the body. They are picked up by the partner during sexual intercourse. Rarely, the infection may occur through contact with other body areas. About 3 weeks after contact, a small sore that looks like a cold sore may appear at the spot where the germs entered. Sometimes this first sign may not appear at all, or it may look like a pimple, or it may be hidden inside the body, such as on the cervix. Wherever it is, the sore in time disappears. But not the disease. It spreads throughout the body via the bloodstream. And within a few weeks, the skin erupts with small sores, highly infectious sores, like a rash. These too disappear in time, even without treatment. Now the disease works its real damage. If the spinal cord is attacked, the victim becomes crippled. If syphilis attacks the eyes, the result is blindness. The brain, insanity. The large blood vessels, death. During pregnancy, the unborn child can be infected and permanently deformed by syphilis. It kills many babies before they have a chance to be born. More prevalent than syphilis is gonorrhea. For women, unfortunately, it is also in some ways more dangerous. The germs of gonorrhea are found in the mucous lining of the sex organs. During intercourse, the semen of an infected male reaches the female reproductive organs. Within 3 to 9 days, the gonorrheal germs cause a pus-like discharge, which may escape from the vagina. Often this may be accompanied by burning pain during urination, although this can occur for other reasons. If there are symptoms, they may disappear in time, as did those of syphilis. Sometimes a woman notices nothing at all, but the disease stays on and works its damage. In the abdomen, it can cause a cycle of pain and fever, much like a recurring appendicitis. In the pelvic area, sterility, inability to have a baby. As you have seen, syphilis and gonorrhea are different diseases, but there is much about them that is the same. They are contagious, spread by germs. They are picked up by physical contact with an infected person. The usual means is sexual intercourse. At times, other sexual activity may transmit the diseases. In their early stages, the diseases may not produce external signs. This makes them all the more dangerous. It delays treatment and early cure. Prevention, of course, is far better. Can you prevent venereal diseases? There is no device or chemical that is 100% effective for women. The only sure preventive is the natural and obvious one. Avoid exposure. Venereal diseases can be cured with early and adequate treatment, but only a physician can diagnose and treat a venereal disease with the best chance of curing it. Any girl who tries to treat herself is gambling with her health and her life and the lives of her future children. It's a foolish gamble when confidential treatment from a competent physician is always available. Because of the potential dangers, even mild symptoms should be checked after possible exposure to venereal disease. At these times, the patient must be frank and honest. False information can mislead even the experienced physician. He needs to know all the facts. He wants to treat and cure the disease, not embarrass the patient. On the other hand, you should realize that not every discharge or increase in discharge is a sign of a venereal disease. Some discharge from the vagina is normal. It may vary in amount, and it may increase under sexual excitement. Also, there are other diseases that can infect the vagina. These non-venereal infections are usually not serious, but they can produce an irritating discharge and cause persistent itching and burning. So it's only common sense to have your doctor check all sores, irritations, and suspicious discharges in or near the vagina. If you have reason to suspect a venereal disease, and remember, there is only one reason you might have one, see the doctor and get proper examination and treatment. Uncontrolled sexual behavior not only can lead to pregnancy and venereal disease, it can also have psychological effects. Feelings of guilt, emotional upset, fear of what lies ahead. These may vary with the individual. But it is the rare girl who does not have pangs of conscience after illicit sex relations. Temporarily, at least, her well-being suffers. The fun of dating is sharing a good time, doing things together. And it helps if you have similar ideas on what goes and what doesn't go in sexual behavior. In this area, ideas can differ greatly. Think back to your younger days. Whether you realized it or not, your family, teachers, and friends formed your ideas and manners. They cut the pattern for your behavior, what to do, what not to do. They filled your need for affection and gave you a pattern for expressing it. When you grew up, your need for affection also grew and took a new shape. When problems came along, reassurance was close by. Then came the time to leave. You took with you your old ideas, your old patterns, and your new feelings. But in the new place, you found that people have a different pattern of conduct. In fact, there are many patterns. Ideas and ways of doing things different from yours. Like you, they have brought them from home. Some patterns may be better. Some may be worse. It's up to you to pick and choose. Dating calls for the ability to share good times, to learn from each other, and when suitable, to show affection without endangering your well-being, physical, emotional, or moral. Here are a few ideas to think about. A normal girl nearing adulthood has sex urges and emotional desires. In certain situations, these urges are aroused and can become difficult to control. Alcohol, too, reduces emotional control. Too much alcohol can dissolve the best of good intentions. You may know your own ability for self-control, but do you know your date well enough to understand his pattern of conduct? His intention and ability to control his emotions? A boy, too, feels his new freedom from old patterns. What he would not do near home might seem the thing to do in his new surroundings. Especially if he feels his buddies expect it of him. There are plenty of nice guys around. It just may take a little while to be sure. Although you may hear otherwise, there are no harmful effects from refraining from sexual intercourse. Uncontrolled sexual behavior usually is a sign of an immature and insecure person. All things considered, it's the girl who sets the level of conduct on a date. You create or prevent situations of sexual arousal and demands by your manner, your dress, by your general behavior. The desire to be popular can tempt you to disregard self-control and the well-being it protects. Considering the possible consequences of uncontrolled drinking and sex relationships, it's better to think of yourself first. You always have to live with yourself. Only you can appreciate the value of your well-being. Only you can maintain and protect it.